Hi everyone, good morning, good afternoon, good evening from wherever you are joining. Today my session is going to be on Python, especially for SQL developers. My name is Indira Bandari and I'm working as a senior data consultant in Datacom in Auckland, New Zealand. Before we start, I'm just going to introduce myself. I have started my journey in New Zealand about almost 20 years ago. I have a master's degree in statistics and I have been in the data field for over 18 years now. I have a passion to teach kids in my pastime all about technology, and what I teach is SQL and Power BI. I started off with a game development course for them, and that's what inspired me to teach kids about technology. And if you want to contact me, my Twitter is Indira Bandari, and I have a small blog where I blog. I haven't been blogging that much for the past 1 year, and you can contact me on LinkedIn as well. Let me begin with a story. I have a colleague named Chris, and one day he came to me and said, Indira, I have a lot of questions. You do work on Python and doing some advanced analytics. I'm really impressed on that, and I want to learn some of the tricks in Python. I want to get started in Python. So I said, okay. He was a DBA, he's a DBA. So I started saying, okay, let me teach you how to code in Python, because you have a strong SQL background. It will be easy. I'll compare and then say what is the equivalent in Python so that you understand better. Okay, let's make a deal. So that's what we have done. So that's how this session has come up. So today's agenda is I'll give you some links as to how to install the Python IDE environment and how to get started. And I'm going to cover how to create a data frame. Data frame is nothing but a table with some rows and columns, and how to view top 5 records, bottom 5 records, selecting and slicing, displaying last 10 columns, displaying column data types, aggregations, column statistics, and also creating a simple plot. So here is the environment setup. I have given some links. You will be getting this PDF as well. So installing Python, the instructions are here. These are really clear instructions, and also you can set up your development environment with these links. The way I have done it is my IDE is Anaconda. So those are the instructions for the Anaconda. So let's now start with the demo. Once you set up your development environment, just go into the start and then start the Anaconda Navigator. And that takes a little while to open. After it opens, it will give you all the tools that you can use from Anaconda. I'm going to open a Jupyter notebook. You can either open it from there, or you can go to the start button and then choose Jupyter notebook to open. So I'm going to click on this Jupyter notebook. But while that is opening, you can see these tools, these applications that are there, which you can use. So there is a Jupyter Lab, there is a Watson Studio Cloud, Jupyter Notebook, PowerShell. All these you have access to, even Spider. So I'm going to use this Jupyter Notebook, which now it is open here. So it opens a local host at 8888 port, and this is all the environment. It has files running and clusters. So if you look at the files, you can see all the folders and the file structure. In order to open a new Jupyter Notebook, what you need to do is you need to just click on the new here on this side and then click on the new Python. So if I click on that, it opens up Jupyter Notebook. As you can see, Jupyter Notebook is a web-based application that allows you to create and share documents. And this contains live code and all the explanatory text that you create, and also if you create any visualizations, that holds that too. So here if you can see this, there are two types of cells here. This is called a cell. This is a code cell, which is indicated by this one, and you can also add a markdown cell, and you can add a heading and use that. So I have just converted this into a markdown cell, and if you want to run a cell, you just need to click on Shift and Enter. When you save this notebook, it saves as a .ipynb file. So in a markdown cell, you can just write some text. So I am starting to write the text with the hash, beginning with hash, which will give a heading. So I'm just saying getting started with Python, and then make sure you have a space between the hash and your heading, and then now you can press Shift and Enter. So that has converted into a heading. Now you must have noticed automatically another cell has been inserted, and that is always a code cell that gets inserted automatically. So in Python, if you want to comment your code, it is hash and then you can comment. Let us get started. So that is a comment, and before we start, what we need to do is we need to import some libraries. So, and here you see the untitled, so you can just double click on that and then rename it to say getting started. Now for importing libraries, there is just a simple command called import pandas. Pandas is the library that we are going to import, which will help us in exploring the data. So the syntax is import pandas as PD. What is PD? PD is similar to the alias that we use in SQL. So we use, if we are defining a column name, if you are doing a calculated column in SQL, we just do the calculation and then we give the name to that column name to that calculation as and salary or something like that. So you can use it. You can think of PD as an alias. So I'm going to run this one. So Shift Enter is the command. Now it is in edit mode. So once we run here, if you have noticed, it changed for a star and then it has imported. So if there are no errors, that means it has imported. Now in the next cell that has been created, what I want to do is to turn this into a markup, and then I want to paste some text here, which is, I want to create a data frame which is similar to a table in SQL, and the data for that is in a CSV file, which is called movies data. And if I run this one, the code cell automatically gets created. And before we import the data into data frame, let's have a glimpse in the CSV file. Okay, so what we are going to do is we are going to import this movie metadata, which has all these columns: color, director, director name, actor 1 name, actor 2 name, actor 1, Facebook likes, and it has a lot of columns and a lot of rows. So this CSV file we are going to import using a read CSV function. So I'm going to write the code and the comments. Data equals pd dot read CSV, read underscore CSV, all in capital, all in small letters, and give the path. The movie metadata.csv file has been stored in my C drive in data folder. So when I run this one, shift enter, now these 1 and 2 are showing that they have been run. But how do we view the data? Before we view the data, so this one-liner is similar to, if we look at similarity with SQL, first we need to create a table in SQL and then also insert the data from the CSV into the table. And when we are creating the table, we need to define all the columns, all the 28 columns I think this particular CSV had with the data types. But for Python, that is not needed. Otherwise, we could use the import-export wizard in Management Studio. So now let's see how we can view the top 5 rows. I'm going to use the PD. Now here, this data is stored in a data frame called data. So this is what we will be referring to in our future lines of code. So now to view the top 5 rows or top 10 rows, I think, yeah, top 10 rows, there is a command called head command, so which we can use, head function. So it can be used like this, data.head, and within brackets you pass on the number of records that you want to see. This is similar to select top 10 star from data in SQL. So when I run this one, we will see shift enter, and then we can see all the columns with a scroll bar that appears, and it says 10 rows and 29 columns. Yeah, this particular thing, the particular file had 29 columns, and all of them have been, we are seeing all of them. Okay, so now let us see how to view the bottom 5 columns. There is something called, I'll paste the same thing, and there is something called tail. One is head shows the top 10, and tail shows the bottom 10. So this is similar to select bottom 10 star from data in SQL. So when I run this one, it shows 10 rows and 29 columns, but it comes from the bottom. If you see the index there, the ID, which is automatically created by Python, that is shown there. And when you look at the head, it shows the 1, 2, 3, 4 till 10. Now let us see how to display columns. So there is a columns command, which I'm going to use it with the data frame called data. So for that, it is just data.columns, and everything is in lowercase, and I press shift enter, and here is the list of all the columns that we can see. You can convert this to a list as well. So data dot columns to list dot list with brackets, and then shift enter. So it now shows neatly in a list form. Now let us see how we can display just one single column in the result. So now what I have written is, I have the data frame called data, and within square brackets I specify the column name, which is gross. I'm using the gross column name from this list, which is the gross amount that was spent for making the movie. and then I'm using that in conjunction with the head function, which displays 5 rows. I want to display 5 rows of just the column gross, and this is similar to select top 5 gross from data in SQL. And notice that here, unlike SQL column names will mostly not have the inverted commas there. It will have, if there are spaces in the commas, we will have brackets, square brackets like this, but no inverted commas. But Python will use inverted commas for column names. So this is gross, which is displaying, and the data type also is being displayed here, which is float 64. Now if we want to look at multiple columns, display multiple columns, it is quite easy. So let's say I want to display gross and along with movie title. So I'm just going to insert two inverted commas and movie and title. Movie underscore title is the name of the column, and both of them will be separated by a comma, which is similar to let's say top 5 movie title, movie underscore title, comma gross from data. So display multiple columns. Now let's press shift enter, and something is wrong. Okay, so here what is wrong is we need to include another set of brackets when we are including multiple columns. This is not required for single column. So square brackets begin before we start the column name, and then end it after the last column name. Control V, yeah, I think, and we need to close the, yeah. So now this has two, notice that this has 2 brackets and before the beginning and 2 brackets before the ending. And then data. Okay, this says unexpected indent error, so we should not be indenting. Just remove the indent and then run it again, and then everything is fixed. So indenting also plays an important role in Python. Now you can also use a variable to store the column names. So for that I'm going to create a variable called call names, and I'm storing this in the two column names in a variable called call names. So call names has gross and movie title, and this we can print to see what it is printing. Print command is similar to print in SQL. So you can just print the column, the variable, and also use that same variable in printing the top 5 rows in data in the data frame. So if I run this one, you can see that it has printed the column names gross and movie underscore title, and also printed the top 5 rows of these 2 columns. Now let us see how we can select some rows. So selecting rows is similar to the where condition in SQL, and for this we use lock function, and this is the code for a single condition. So the condition now here is give me all the data that has gross which is greater than, let's say, $1,000. So for that, use the data frame, that is data dot loc, and then here within brackets we are mentioning the single condition from the data frame. So take the data from the data frame, you take the gross column and then see whether it is greater than or equal to $1,000, and then display the top 3. Top 3 can be displayed by using the head function, which we have seen earlier. So this is something similar to select top 3 star from data where gross is greater than or equal to 1000. So when I run this one, so you can see the first 3 rows where the gross, if you look at the gross column, it is more than 1000. Maybe everything is more than 1000. That's not a great example, but yeah, you can see that this is the where condition with a single condition. Now let us see the multiple conditions code. So here I have 2 conditions. Again, I'm using the lock function, and I have started one condition with an open brackets, normal brackets. So one condition is included within normal brackets, and then the other condition, before starting the other condition, I am using a AND because that is my condition. Or you can use OR as well with 2 pipe characters. I am using an ampersand, and again within the new set of brackets, I am giving the condition as country equals USA. Notice the two double equals here. So when you are checking the condition in Python, you need to use double equals. So 2 times you need to press equal. So here, and then I'm using the dot head function to display the top 3 rows. So here, this is similar to top 3, select top 3 star from data where gross is greater than or equal to 1000 and country equals USA. So let's run this one and see what happens. So this should display top 3 rows and all columns because we have given star. But the condition is we are using 2 conditions with 2 columns, gross and country. So let's look at this one. So 0, 1, and see it is displaying the third one, not the second one. If we look at this one, this is displaying 0, 1 and 2 because the 0, 1 and 2 with the first condition has the third row has UK as a country, but because we have given the country as USA, it is not displaying the second row, but it is displaying the third row from the data frame, which is having USA as the condition. Now let us see how to display the last n columns in Python. So this is possible with -2 or -3. Let's say I want to display the last n columns. So that means it should display, according to this, it should display aspect ratio and movie Facebook likes. Those are the 2 columns that are there in the end. So for that, I'm going to use again my data frame, which is data, and within data, I'm going to use the columns command, which we have seen earlier, and within brackets, I use -2 and colon, and I'm going to again use a head function to display the top 3. So let us run this and see whether we can see the aspect ratio and movie Facebook likes. Yeah, so it displays the 3 rows and the last 2 columns. Now let us see how to get the data types of the columns, which in SQL we define the data types when we create the table. There is a command called dtypes which can be used with the data frame. So data.dtypes will give you the data type of each of the columns there. So let us run this one. Object is nothing but a string or a varchar variable, and float is similar to the float in SQL, and most of them are objects and floats. Notice that the budget is of data type float. I want to change that to integer. So let us look at how to do that. This is similar to the cast function or a convert function in SQL. We need to allocate the change to the column. So that is why we are including a equals here. So we are choosing the budget column from the data frame called data equals, and then we are changing that budget column into integer by using the as type function, which is similar to cast. So let us run this. Type d types and then shift enter. Then it is showing that the data type is integer. Now let us have a look at basic aggregations. Aggregations in Python are done by group by, which is similar to a group by function in SQL, group by clause. So here I am grouping by country and giving the summarization as mean, that is average. So if I don't give any columns, it just groups by all the columns that are similar to integer and float columns. So you can see all the integers and float columns saying average by country. So it has grouped by country. Now let's specify to aggregate by one column, which is movie Facebook likes, and I'm going to change the aggregation to sum, and still I want to group by country. Let's run this. So now it is displaying the sum of movie Facebook likes by country, and there are 65 rows. Next we will see how to display two columns, summarize two columns by aggregation sum and group by country, and that is the syntax. Notice the two brackets, double set of brackets here, which is similar to what we have used earlier. So now I am summarizing Facebook likes and budget by country. Now let's see how we can group by two columns, which is country and genres, and aggregating two columns, movie Facebook likes and budget. So now there are two. So for each country it is displaying genres and then the summarizing columns. Now let us look at some statistics. Data frame statistics is one of the statistics is length of data, which is similar to select count of star from data. So it is showing 5039 records. Another important function for statistics is column statistics is called value counts, which is something like this command is select count of star from the data, group by country, because I have mentioned only one column. So it is giving the number of counts by country. If you want to use help for any function, what you can do is you can put a question mark, and then you need to mention the PD. PD is the alias, if you remember, for when we imported pandas. So pd.value_counts exclamation mark. If you give that and try to execute it, it will give you all the details of what you can use. Let us try and use drop NA. NA equals false. What this will do is it drops all the false records and then gives you the counts. The data that I have used doesn't have any missing values, so it doesn't make a difference. Now let us try and create a simple chart of color by using color, and the kind of plot that I'm using is bar. So I just specified kind as bar, and look at the graph that it has created. Is content rating. I'm plotting the graph for content rating, and you get all the ratings like this. So far we have seen the plots from pandas library of Python. Now let's see another plot from matplotlib library. So I have to import that before I use that. So I'm just going to write the import command. So import matplotlib. Within that we are going to use pyplot, and I'm importing that as PLT. I'm going to run this. Oh, but there is an error. I think the syntax error. So if I have to run it as import matplotlib.pyplot as plt. Let me run that. Right, so it's ran because I can see the number without any issues. Now what we'll do is we'll try and create a bar graph using this library, which is alias to plt. So as a first step, what I will do is I am going to declare a variable fig.ax equals, I am referencing the plt here, plt dot subplots, and within brackets what I am going to give is fig size equals, and then again within brackets let's say I'm just giving the size as 8,4. Next what I'm going to do is I'm going to give a title to the chart that I'm going to create. For that it's fig dot subtitle is, I'll say, directors of the movie database. Next I'm going to write the same statement as this one. So I'm just going to copy that and change it to, so this content rating I'm going to change it to director name, director underscore name, value counts, and then I can also provide sort option here. Within here what I'll specify is sort underscore values, ascending equals false. Next what I'll give is I'll give the y label plt dot y label equals plt dot y label equals count, and because it's a label we have to enclose that in single quotations, followed by next one is I'm setting the labels for x-axis and y-axis. So ax dot set x label equals set underscore, it should be underscore x label, and within brackets it will be director name, and ax dot set underscore y label count. Now I will run this one and see whether it runs properly. So just running it. Okay, there is something, data director name, syntax error, so I think it should be a capital F. Try running that, and okay, it's still syntax error. Let us have a look. Semicolon dot, yeah, I'm missing a dot here. So again running. Okay, it's sort of generating it. Text 0.5 count, that is the label. Okay, finally we got the we got a lot of directors of the movie database sorted in descending order, and because there are a lot of directors, I just want to restrict it to, let's say, top 10. So for restricting that to top 10, what I need to do is, after the sort values and giving the ascending true or false, you need to put a square bracket and then specify the number of directors that you want. So for it should be colon, and let's say I want 10 directors. So for that, this is what I need to do, and then I'll just ensure that there is a semicolon here, and then when I run this one, see, now you get the top 10 directors, director names, and the number of movies that they have done. So 25 movies were done by Steven Spielberg and Woody Allen, 22 I think, and so similarly like that, Clint Eastwood, and the 10th one in the row is Oliver Stone. So this is how I have used the matplotlib library of Python. So there are a lot of libraries that you can use in Python to generate graphs. So we have seen two here. One is using the pandas inbuilt function, where we just give the data, and within the data we pass the variable name. Dot value counts. Value counts means number of it aggregates the counts by the variable that you pass here, and then here you can provide the kind. If you provide kind equals bar, then it creates a bar chart, and if you want a line chart, you can just say kind equals line. But here in this context, line doesn't suit, so that's why I have provided the bar chart. So we have done charts for value counts for color. I think there is some kind of typo here, so that's why this has two black and whites, which are a little bit similar. There might be a space here in this value, so a couple of them are here in this, and here the data content rating. So value counts will be based on content rating, so whether it's PG 13 or PG, or not rated at all, or general audience, and again not rated and unrated could have been clubbed. Approved, passed also could have been clubbed, so something like that. So you can have a visibility. And then we started with the matplotlib, and we referred the matplotlib like this. So now if we see here, you have the count here as the label, set label, and directors of the movie database. This is the title, the chart title that we have given, and also in the y-axis there is a director name. So these two are derived from these two statements here. So that's the graph that we have seen. So let us recap what we have covered. We have created a data frame using the read CSV function in pandas, and we have viewed the top 5 records. We have viewed the top 5 records using the head function, and tail function was used to view the bottom 5 records, and also selecting and slicing. We have covered that, and then also displaying last 10 columns by using the -2, and displaying column data types, and also aggregations. We have covered sum, mean, and mean functions, and also column statistics. and also finally we have created a simple plot. Hope you all enjoyed this, and you will get started in learning Python like how Chris did. And now I would like to give my special thanks to Microsoft for supporting Data Platform Geeks and also SQL Server Geeks, and also all the community initiatives that Microsoft supports. And I would like to thank Data Platform Summit organizers and volunteers for giving me this opportunity to present here today. And finally, if there is these are the 3 ways to win prizes. So you can post your selfie with hashtag DPS 2022, and also please give session and conference feedback. With your feedback we will be improving ourselves, so please do not forget to give session feedback, and also visit the sponsors and exhibitors in the conference, and follow Data Platform Geeks on Twitter, the Data Geeks at Data AI Summit. And thank you very much. Hope you all have enjoyed the session. See you in the live. Thank you.